start thinking about your strategic plan for the year. And there's a great process in the library for doing this. It's called strategic planning. So I'm in guiding the business because this is a strategy type thing. This is a guiding thing. So here in the library guiding the business, you go to general processes, and then you're going to see there's a lot of stuff in here related to good strategy, but the strategic planning process is here, right here. It's grayed out because it's already in my account. So you can download the strategic planning process. This isn't long and complicated. I mean, it's got a lot in it, but it doesn't. I'm going to show you how simple it can be. The first thing you can do is you can watch this video. So this is Clayton Mask, who is one of the founders of Infusionsoft, which is a really great software tool that we use. They're really entrepreneurial thinkers, and he's a really he's not only an amazing entrepreneur, but he's also a good teacher. So this is a link to one of his videos on strategic planning, and this strategic planning process here in TouchStone is kind of modeled after the way they do it in Infusionsoft. So this gives a 1 through 5, the basic steps of creating a strategic plan. So you can go through and watch these or read these work plans. So this is like a step-by-step for, you know, how to create your vision. There's these 3 key pieces that this process teaches, like purpose. What's your purpose? What are your values? What are your mission? This values thing, this is a really great thing to do for your company. Just a set of your core values. It helps with customer service. It helps with client complaints. It helps with sales and marketing for your employees to really understand, what do you stand for? What's important to you? Because then they can gauge everything else off of that. You know, if it's one of the core standards we have here at Business Design Corp is to do the right thing. That doesn't always mean that the customer is always right, but we always strive to do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. Whether it be admitting something that was wrong or making it right, we always strive to do the right thing. So whatever comes up related to that, if the employee is asking a question or some issue happens, a manager, it's very common to hear them say, well, what would be the right thing? How would we do the right thing here? So that's just an example of how these core values can really feed into your processes and how your employees kind of think and view the business. So creating the vision. Down here, there's these documents that I think are really useful. So this is one called Annual Priorities. So this is where it can be really simple. Even if you choose to ignore all these work plans, just if it's overwhelming to you, just ignore them. Sometimes people don't do strategic planning because it's so overwhelming. It's like, I don't even know what to do, and how do I even begin? So if you're feeling that way about it, then begin here. So develop a list of annual priorities. What do you want to accomplish in 2019? Just click this open. You can edit and change it right here. List out what your annual priorities are. What are the things you want to do? They can be broad, like increase sales. They can be goals like better customer service. They can be numbers like 70% conversion rate. So put in what your goals are here, annual priorities. You can add more cells, you can add more rows. Then in the description field, just put in a little bit more detail about this. So to increase sales, what are you going to need to do? So more advertising, more money spent on that. Again, these are just notes. This isn't like any kind of detailed planning. So create a list of your annual priorities. Then go and say, okay, Q1, what are we going to do in Q1? So now we're breaking it down into quarters. We're saying, what is a reasonable goal for Q1? of all these annual priorities, what are we going to focus on in the first quarter of the year? So if you want to increase sales, then you're going to have to, in some situations, raise your conversion rate or get more leads. So if you're going to increase sales by the end of the year, you probably should start at the beginning of the year with developing more advertising techniques or working on your sales process in order to increase the conversion rate. So you put in the quarterly priorities from the annual list and then put in action to take. So if one of the quarterly priorities is to the 70% conversion rate for sales, then the action to take is work on sales process. Whatever else, work on, so you list out these actions. So we're taking the goal here, and then we're listing the steps or the actions to take. And then this is really the key to making it happen. You can say in the action to take who needs to be involved in that, who's going to help work on it, and then you go to the next quarter. Now, when you're monitoring this, if things didn't get accomplished in Q1, then drag them down to Q2. This happens all the time in my department. You know, we don't plan for it to happen that way, but there'll be quarterly priorities that just don't get done. And a lot of times there's legitimate reasons for it, but we just don't forget that. We drag them from here down to here. So once you fill all this out, you can save it, and then it can be edited and changed as you go along, and things can be cut and pasted from one area to the other. So this is just a simple way to kind of think about what are the actions you want to take and make it a little tangible. If you want to get more elaborate with it, there's all these work plans you can follow to create a vision and to plan meetings around it. So there's like ways to come up with agendas and the rhythm of the meetings, which basically means how often are you going to meet about these things. So this is the strategic planning process. There's also in the Resource Center, there's more about strategic planning. So feel free to come here if you want even more information about that.